sink.
If it wasn't for him, who knows what would happen next.
I do know for a fact something forced that woman's head down in that sink.
My head into the sink.
I knew right there and then, whatever's here is not playing games. It's become dangerous. It's become violent.
I'm telling you, Bobby, there was a hand in the middle of my back forcing me into the sink.
When Janet told Bobby about her ordeal, she didn't receive the response she'd hoped for.
He told me I was crazy. He didn't believe me. He didn't believe Carl.
What's going on here?
But it did happen.
I'm telling you, I don't want you filling her head with any more of this stuff. Do you hear me?
He's not putting anything in my head. I know what I saw, and I told him about it.
We need to get
I
ready.
had invested everything I had in here, and all I wanted to do was get it open. And I didn't want to hear anything about ghosts, and I had told Carl over and over not to tell people about it, and much less quit putting it in Janet's mind.
Soon after Janet's incident in the kitchen, police officer Larry Hornsby was making his rounds.
I had a funny feeling all night for some reason. At a full moon, something's going to happen.
Suspecting a burglar might be inside the club, Officer Hornsby called for backup.
Did you hear it? Yeah, backstage. All right, let's go. All right.
Police! Come on out! Police! Come out!
I knew there was a man and a woman in a radio playing. I heard the voice and I heard the music.
There's nobody back here. What do you mean there's nobody back here? I heard voices in here, though. Me too. Front door. Let's go.
No wind. There was nothing could close that door. We was stunned. Put it that way in plain words, we was stunned.
Hey, what are you going to call in? We saw a ghost?
I said, if I put this in a report like this,
Don't call it in.
they'll be send me to a psychiatrist. I was just going to put it. I went into the building and checked it out, made sure there was nobody in here.
I'll see you tomorrow, all right? I'm getting out of here. Have a good night.
A few nights later, Officer Hornsby responded to a fatal traffic accident outside the club.
Sir, can you hear me? You got nothing? All right, we need to get these guys out of the car. We got anything to cover the bodies? Nothing in the car. Look, I need an EMT out here quick. I got 2 bodies from a car accident. We need,
after we got the scene cleared, we came back up, knocked on the door, so we could thank her for giving us the tablecloth. But the doors were locked. We didn't know what happened to her.
I saw somebody go.
The next afternoon, Hornsby questioned Bobby.
Did you hear about that accident last night?
Yeah, I read about it in the papers.
We thought it was a waitress, and we described her.
Tell you about it.
Bobby said no one had been at the club after 10 o'clock that evening.
We left here at 10. This place...
I never did believe in ghosts. Never. I would laugh at you then. But a lot of things changed since then.
I'm telling you, Larry, these doors were locked. There was no one else here.
So I don't want to say all these people are liars, because there are a lot of credible people. But I just find it hard to believe that there's anything in here, any supernatural or any ghosts, or I just can't believe that. There's got to be an explanation for everything that has taken place.
You all right?
Oh, I'm fine. I just broke the last of my cooking balls. I gotta go get another one.
Okay.
Careful, last one.
That's all right. I'll clean it up. Oh, good.
Janet, you don't have to clean anything up. I'll be right back.
That's
I can take it.
I get it.
All right, I'll be right back.
Anybody here? Help! My wife, she fell down the stairs. She's pregnant.
I was so terrified because I thought, I was going to lose my baby. I went into labor.
What happened here? My wife, she fell down the stairs. She just tripped.
I was angry. I was terrified. I was everything.
Yes, I need to find the OR, and I need to
She told me something had forced her down the steps, and I believed her. Bobby's concern was the business.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, I can understand. He's got his reputation on the line.
Do something about these spirits, man. They're getting out of control.
Carl, there's no spirits. What's wrong with you?
Nobody's going to believe you unless you experience it yourself.
You all right? Do you need anything? All right.
Janet gave birth to a baby girl who weighed less than 1 kilo. They didn't know whether she would survive. The following weeks were filled with uncertainty. Once it became clear his daughter would be all right, Bobby threw himself back into the business.
Opening night, I was kind of numb. I had a lot on my shoulders, and a lot of stress, and a lot of pressure.
Carl, listen to me. I don't want you telling any ghosts. Carl, look at me. I don't want you telling any of the customers that stuff. All right?
My focus was totally on running this business and making it work. I didn't want to hear any of this nonsense. I wanted to make the place known for a great country music dance hall.
A few weeks later, Carl moved into an apartment above the club. He spent every night there, alone.
Unless I had to go somewhere, I stayed here, kept an eye on it, protected it. Something like from a nightmare. I'd actually thought I was dreaming, but I wasn't. It was real.
Yet for weeks afterwards, he tried to tell himself that the incident had never occurred. One day, he was tidying the storage room. The journal had belonged to a woman named Johanna, a dancer who'd performed at the club in the 1930s.
Tuesday. She was in love with a musician, and Johanna's father did not like this guy.
He said he'd kill him if we didn't stop seeing each other. I'd rather be dead than lose Robert.
The journal revealed that Johanna's lover had disappeared. Fearing her father had murdered him, Johanna poisoned her father and then herself. Her final entry proclaimed she would roam the halls of the club for eternity, awaiting her lover's return.
I couldn't breathe. maybe I just got a medical problem I should get checked.
Carl was unable to sleep. Then the electricity went out. The fuse box was in the basement. Carl had never before noticed the latch on the floor. He returned the next day with the only thing he thought would help.
I'm a firm believer in Jesus Christ. I feel if it's evil, get some holy water or something, keep what's down there from getting back up here.
Carl was certain that whatever was in the well was stronger than he was.
Look at this place.
Carl? Are you all right?
In the weeks that followed, Carl's behavior became erratic.
How come you haven't cleaned up the place?
It got to the point where I wouldn't know which Carl I was talking to.
Are you okay?
I would have to talk to him for just a little while to figure out, how to deal with him, because he always seemed to be different.
You think you're alone here, but you're not. Carl, you okay? You'll see. See what?
I'm trying to tell you, Bobby.
Tell me what?
Don't you?
This place sort of, it became it was part of me.
Bobby Mackey remained focused on his business. He enlisted a writer friend, Doug Hensley, to help produce a television commercial.
Silk, come on down to Bobby Mackey's Music World, where the good times never die.
Cut!
Bobby still refused to believe the nightclub was haunted, but he did confide in Doug about the strange occurrences.
So how's everything going? Pretty good. I'm having a problem with one of my employees, though. Who? Kid named Carl.
Once Bobby had told me the story, I asked him why he kept it quiet. And he said that a lot of people are afraid of ghosts, and he didn't want the word out. He firmly said he didn't believe in it, but his wife and Carl Lawson believed the place was haunted.
Doug's journalistic instincts told him the story was worth pursuing.
Do you mind if I talk to him, though? I guess. You want to talk to him, you can talk to him, but look, I just want you to tell me what you experienced, best as you can say. place is evil. I've seen stuff I can't explain. I found a loose floorboard. Inside that floorboard I found...
Carl told Doug about Johanna's diary and the two men he'd seen in the basement.
She drank the rest herself. She was 5.5 months pregnant.
Carl told me that this place was filled with evil, and the only reason he stayed here was to protect Janet and Bobby. Had it not been for that, he would have left here a long time ago. But he also told me that they don't want us here. Something always pulled him back here.
Hensley was a skeptic by nature, but he listened to Carl and Janet with an open mind.
I was 5.5 months pregnant. And I felt this hand in the middle of my back, but I was alone.
I found Janet to be more believable than Carl in the beginning because her demeanor was total and complete trepidation. She was afraid to even talk about it. You would have to know Janet Mackey to know that she would not make up something like this.
Doug decided to do a little digging at the library.
I really thought Carl Lawson was schizophrenic until I started doing hours and hours of research, learning the history of this place.
He found a local newspaper article from the 19th century.
I learned of two men that were hung in Newport, Kentucky in 1897. Their names were Alonzo Walling and Scott Jackson.
The two men were student dentists who had been convicted of the murder of a young socialite called Pearl Bryan. They had both been sentenced to death by hanging. The victim's headless body was found near the site of an old slaughterhouse. She'd been 5.5 months pregnant.
Alonzo Walling swore a curse on the gallows and said that he would come back from hell and haunt everyone involved in his trial and haunt the place where Pearl Bryan's head was.
Doug shared his findings with Carl and Janet. After Pearl Bryan's body was discovered, bloodhounds had led investigators to the slaughterhouse itself. Locals suspected the killers had disposed of Pearl's head in a well in the basement. They also believed the act had been part of a satanic ritual, but the head was never found. Doug discovered that Bobby's nightclub rested on the foundation of the old slaughterhouse.
Satan worshippers came to this spot at night and gave blood sacrifices down inside that well to worship the devil because of all the blood spilled on this ground. There was a culvert pipe that all the blood of the animals was rinsed into the Licking River. It is my opinion that Alonzo Walling and Scott Jackson both dwell at this nightclub because this is where they disposed of Pearl's head.
Alonzo Walling and Scott Jackson, they're here.
Janet Mackey told me she was 5.5 months pregnant when she was thrown down a flight of stairs.
Bobby, you gotta do something about this.
Pearl Bryan was 5.5 months pregnant. Johanna, the dance hall girl who poisoned herself inside this nightclub, was pregnant. Right around 5.5 months.
In the hope of bringing a peaceful end to the strange happenings at the club, Doug contacted a woman named Patricia Michelle. She claims that since childhood, she's been able to communicate with the dead.
Patricia, this is Carl.
When I arrived at the club, I met Carl, the caretaker.
They're here.
He started to talk, and I said, "Do me a favor, Carl." I said, "Don't talk to me about any spirits." I said, "Let me walk through the club. Let me experience what I experience." I have what they call inner vision, or second sight.
Patricia said she sensed the presence of a spirit.
What's your name?
And she said, my name is Johanna. I said, what happened to you?
Why are you here?
She said, I know I'm dead. I said, why don't you let me send you to the light? And she said, no, lady. She said, don't send me to no light. I think that what is in Bobby Mackey's nightclub are ghosts that believe there is no place for them to go. And so they would prefer to live in this nightclub than to go on to a place where they may burn for eternity. That's what they think. I don't see the room as it is. I see the room like it used to be. I got this overwhelming feeling of nausea. I felt like I was spinning. I couldn't wait to get out of there.
Are you okay? Are you sure? Doug's bringing you a glass of water, okay? Thank you.
Patricia Michelle said she now felt the presence of two evil spirits.
Carl, the two men in the room. I think they're trying.
I said, Carl, these two men in this room, I said, I believe that they're trying to use your body.
I think it makes them feel comfortable.
They were enjoying their senses, touch, smell, taste. For me, I was controlled.
Carl, they've gone now. Carl, it's okay. They've gone now.
Patricia decided more assistance was needed.
I think you're going to need to get a minister to help.
I definitely felt that Carl was possessed.
Okay.
And I told him then, I said, you really need to get a minister or someone to help you.
Doug Hensley brought a Pentecostal minister to meet Carl.
And he told me that this was the most evil site that he'd ever stepped foot on in his life. That it was full of evil.
Why don't you guys wait here?
He said, I've been doing this for years, and I'm telling you, Carl Lawson is demonically possessed.
The minister decided only one course of action could help Carl. He would perform an exorcism.
It'll be better, you'll see. Let's just go ahead. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Carl? Carl? Carl?
I'm not praying to anyone, preacher.
Who are you? Alonzo needs to leave Carl's body. And therefore I say unto you, be with the Lord God, and the devil will flee from you.
the exorcism started to become violent, and Reverend got afraid, and he called us other men into the room to surround Carl.
In the name of Jesus Christ, I command you to leave his body.
He started speaking in Latin, and then he started speaking in English backwards, and it says, I am Satan.
I will command you.
And the spirit said, like a dog growling, I natos. At that time, none of us had any idea what that meant, but later on, after the exorcism, the preacher showed us, he wrote that backwards, and it says, I am Satan.
James 4:7 says, submit to God.
Carl, can you hear me? Are you all right?
When I woke up, everybody was looking at me, and I was on the floor, and I didn't know what happened.
After the exorcism, Carl decided he had to move on.
I felt different.
I wish you the best of luck, Carl. If you ever need anything, you know what?
I felt changed.
Time for me to go. Take care.
I felt like a new human being.
Guess I'll be getting on too.
How about a cup of coffee? Come on.
I didn't need that spirits to tell me to get out. I got out, and I never went back.
To this day, Bobby Mackey claims he has never witnessed paranormal activity at his nightclub.
I don't know if the place got a hold of me or anything unforeseen is holding me here. If that's a supernatural experience, then so be it. And I'm going to stay here.
Beneath the active nightclub, in the bowels of the old slaughterhouse, the well remains. Some say it is still a gateway, and that an ancient evil hides deep inside, waiting.